Good morning. I've been in my studio for about 7.5 months and I'm really happy here. I've got a lovely two-room studio, writing studio at the back overlooking my courtyard, and the art studio is out the front, which again has a lovely vista, lovely blossom trees coming into flower because it's springtime here, and I have roses and native plants out the front in flower. So I do love nature. And there's some lovely close walks full of flowers. So I'm getting ready for my spring art journal. I'm a little bit late because it's already spring here, but I'm making my own journal and I'm mixing high quality fountain pen friendly ink papers and very high quality Fabriano artist watercolor paper into this journal, and it's quite easy to make. And I started off by just using what I had. I didn't go out and buy anything special because that helps for me because I have stuff here. For having been a professional artist, I've got a lot of stuff laying around. But to buy the fountain pen friendly journal that I wanted that would have taken watercolour work as well as the fountain pen, I was looking at spending close to $100, and that was just for one journal. I found that if I bought a full size A1 size sheet of watercolour paper and I folded it into about 16 folds and pulled that apart, just having a couple of folds backwards and forwards and then pulling it apart at the seam, getting a nice torn edge, and then I just finding from notebooks that I already owned that had fountain pen friendly paper and pulling it out, roughly A5 size, and I've gone with the Japanese idea that beauty is not in perfection, that you don't, I'm not trying to make a precision book like one that you might buy that's formed by machine. I'm going for a handmade quality to it. I've also I like the aesthetics of being an artist, being original. To me, craft is sort of copying and learning a procedure which you repeat and repeat. That works fine if you're knitting a jumper. But if you're creating as an artist, you don't necessarily have to look up a formula and copy that. Certainly there are some wonderful tutorials out there, and I've got books on how to make a handmade book, but I just went instinctively, intuitively. And I have made this handmade book very changeable. I'm not bound by having put hours and hours and hours into the making of this book so that it's so precious that I'm scared to use it. I have made this book very loosely. It's loosely tied, and let's say I did a piece that a member of the family or a client even loved and wanted to own, or if I decided I wanted to sell a piece or give it away, I can unbound this book very easily and take that piece out. I might want to frame a piece and put it on my own wall. So it's not the sort of books that cannot be manipulated. Let's say I ruined a piece. But certainly I could paste something over it, but I could also undo the book and remove that section. So this is a very loosely bound book. It's practical in that I can pick it up and handle it as a book, but it's also practical in that it's changeable. It will represent my work for about 3 months because there's over 100 pages, a mixture of fountain pen friendly pages ideal for writing, and there's a mixture of pages that are ideal for painting with. I've used two different grades of watercolour paper. I've used the very heaviest, it's almost as heavy as card, and that would take a lot of water. That would be ideal if I was doing acrylic painting, a lot of water or a really wet wash. And I've used the lighter weight, less expensive watercolour paper, which will be great for doing line and wash work, starting with pen and ink, in my fountain pens or my dip pens, and then finishing off with just very light washes. So I've used a range of the sort of papers that I want to use. So when you make your own journal, you can mix those papers up to suit what you like. And I have really enjoyed doing this. So what I've created is a fully customizable handmade book, and I will be working in this book in a range of different art mediums, each one being shown in its own unique art channel here on YouTube that you can subscribe to. The links will be in the description.